let us fight, but in a somber, sophisticated, and well-mannered way. Well, that's what debate is all about. Good evening, everyone. I am Devdatta Basu, a communicative trainer of Interested. Interested is a unique online platform providing after-school classes for children. Today, we are going to begin something, known, yet something very interesting and where you can participate actively as well. So, I'm sure you have heard about debate, right? We all like to fight, don't we? We all like to fight. Anywhere, given a chance or not given a chance, we are always ready. But what if I say, come on, let us fight, but in a somber, sophisticated, and well mannered way? Well, that's what debate is all about. Now, what is the debate actually? We all have either participated or watched a debate at school or at any place, right? So a debate, basically, in one line, if I need to summarize what a debate is, it's a structured argument. Okay, it's a structured argument where usually a topic is given to you, right? A topic is given to you, and we have either two teams or two different people, one for the motion and the other against the motion. Now, what's this for the motion and against the motion? See, for the motion is the person or the team speaking for the topic or in favor of the topic. Okay, so when we are supporting the topic given to us, then we actually say we speak for the motion, or we are speaking for the motion or in favor of the topic. What is against the motion? Just the opposite. So one team or one person is supporting the topic, while the other team or the other person is speaking against the topic. So let me give you a very easy example. Suppose I give you a topic like technology is harmful for school students. Okay, a very easy topic and also a very relevant topic considering the fact that we have spent 2 years in COVID and children like you have been in contact with, not only in contact but in direct contact with technology, right? So when I give you this topic, technology is harmful for school students. Suppose I ask one of you to speak in favor of the topic or for the motion, or maybe you volunteer to speak for the motion. Okay, usually in debates, everywhere you don't get the chance to actually volunteer and say that I wish to speak for the topic. Sometimes you're not given that option, but you're compelled to speak for the motion. Okay, and so one of you has been asked to speak for the motion or in favor of the topic. That is, you have to support the topic, which is technology is harmful for school students. While the other one here, one of you, say, ma'am, no, I wish to speak against the motion. So when someone is saying against the motion, what does it mean? It simply means that you are basically, you want to say that technology is not harmful, but is helpful for school students. Okay. Now, what do we basically need to keep in mind while we are in a debate or while we are participating in a debate? See, debate, the main aim or our goal in debate is to logically convince the audience of what we are saying or about what we are saying. So, if we speak for the motion or in favor of the topic, like technology is harmful for school students, so I'll present my points in such a way that the people listening to me, they are actually convinced that yes, indeed, technology is harmful for school students. So even if someone, you know, had this thing in mind that technology is somewhat helpful or it has a positive side, that person is also forced to think that maybe somewhere I was wrong. It is indeed harmful for school students. So you have to present your points in such a way that the audience is indeed convinced about what you're saying. Similarly, the person who is speaking against the motion, that is, he or she will say that technology is basically helpful for school students because you're speaking against. So you will say that why technology cannot be always harmful. It also has it is also having its positive sides. But only by saying this, you won't be able to convince. You have to actually put down points. You have to actually put forward points in front of the audience, wherein the audience is indeed convinced that okay, maybe then whatever whatever opinion or doubts we had about technology, maybe we were wrong. Maybe technology indeed is helpful. So there comes the fun, or actually the main success of a debate or a person participating in a debate. So if you are able to convince the people listening to you regarding what? Regarding your points, regarding what was saying, there lies your success. This is the first thing you need to keep in mind. That your main aim is to convince. Second, support your debate with as many relevant examples as possible. So when you're saying technology is harmful for school students, suppose one of you was speaking for the motion. Now, how? So just by saying that, how technology is destroying the school students, how it is hampering them, just by saying, going on and on and on, this will maybe impress a few, a handful of them, not everyone. The rest will wait for examples. They will actually, think that, okay, this person is going on and on and on. But what about the examples? How are we going to believe him or her? So then comes the role of example. So when you are putting in examples, how will you do that? So in this particular topic, if I take this example, you are going to give examples of, maybe you as a school student, you can provide your own example, okay, how it has hampered your lifestyle or your studies. Maybe it has hampered your physical well-being or mental well-being as well. Okay, you can put forward these examples. Or maybe how you haven't been really able to concentrate that much, the way you used to concentrate in in an offline class. Here, you know the way the online classes go on, maybe you're not able to understand everything or concentrate. Maybe you're losing your concentration. Maybe you're getting distracted to certain things happening at home. So maybe the Zoom classes are not exactly, or maybe you are not really having that fun on Zoom classes. which you used to have in an offline class. Okay, in this way, what is happening? You are not, you're not being able to learn that much. You're not getting that amount of fun, and in this way, it is hampering your studies. Or the screen time is actually harming, or your eyes are getting affected. Your eyesight is getting affected. The screen time. Your maybe you have developed a back pain. Okay, so you can provide in this way. You can give your own examples, or you can give examples of your friends, or in general, if you maybe you have heard about someone watching YouTube videos. So in this COVID time, because most of the examples, this topic is very relevant. Why? Because you have actually spent 2 years with technology. So when you're on YouTube, maybe you are watching YouTube 24/7. Some of you actually watch YouTube 24/7. And when I say 24/7, I mean it. You don't sleep. Okay. So watching YouTube, okay, and maybe you're not always, students are, maybe you have heard about someone who actually is not studying and watching something else on YouTube, which he or she is not supposed to watch. Or maybe, so you can always provide examples, real life examples. So in this particular topic, real life examples are more, with this you can connect more with the audience, or the audience will connect more. Similarly, this is, when you are saying that technology, how it is harmful. When I'm saying no, it is not harmful, it's helpful. In this way, in this point also, you can provide a number of examples. Is technology always harmful? Had it been so, would the students have survived in this whole 2 years of COVID? Not at all, right? These 2 years of COVID where students could actually continue with their classes only because of technology, or else they would have just slept off. Okay, so technology without Zoom, without Google Meet, how these have helped, with the classes, with the conduction of classes in the COVID time, in the pandemic time, or how you can. It's not always possible to refer to books. Okay, getting hold of books is not always possible. So when you have a tab or a phone or an access to Google, you can get very good references to your study, to your subject. Suppose you're studying geography, you can get geography, references to that, or history, or science, or maths, or English, anything you want. So references are easily available. The content matter is provided. Students, get some fun while studying. So your content matter becomes more fun filled as compared to the monotonous classes that you have in school. Maybe sometimes it becomes boring, but if you watch YouTube video on, suppose, volcanoes, suppose you're studying volcanoes, or you're studying Indus Valley civilization, and you watch a YouTube video on that, so you also get attracted to the topic. So see, technology is not always harmful. So you are putting the positive sides. So these are some of the techniques through which you can actually attract audience in a debate.